The stars looked different from New Virginia's surface. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the human colony, watching the two suns set over the alien landscape. It had been 3 months since humanity established their first settlement beyond Earth's solar system. The planet they called New Virginia was perfect. Blue skies, breathable air, and rich soil that could grow Earth crops. Morrison commanded the UHS Thunder Soul, the largest battleship in humanity's small fleet. The ship floated in orbit above the colony, its dark hull gleaming under the alien suns. Inside the massive vessel, Dr. Lisa Grant worked on the ship's most secret weapon, a quantum disruptor array that could tear apart matter at the atomic level. No human weapon had ever been tested in real combat. "Captain, we have a problem," came the voice of Commander Ryan Blake over Morrison's communicator. Blake was his first officer, a careful man who always thought twice before acting. "Admiral, Sullivan wants to speak with you immediately." Morrison made his way back to the Thunder Soul through the transport shuttle. The ship's corridors buzzed with activity as crew members went about their duties. The Thunder Soul was home to over 2,000 people, making it a floating city among the stars. Admiral Kate Sullivan appeared on the main screen when Morrison reached the bridge. Her face was serious, with worry lines around her eyes. "Jake, we've detected massive ships approaching New Virginia. They're big, bigger than anything we've ever built." Dr. Grant looked up from her station. She had been monitoring space around the colony for weeks, searching for signs of alien life. "The ships appeared on our sensors 2 hours ago. They're moving slowly, but they're definitely heading toward us." Blake stepped forward, studying the data on his screen. "There are over 200 vessels, Captain. Some of them are 5 kilometers long. Our entire fleet has only 12 ships." Morrison felt his stomach tighten. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it was not what they had hoped for. "Have they tried to communicate?" "Not yet," Grant replied. "But they're getting closer. At their current speed, they'll reach New Virginia in 6 hours." Morrison made a decision that would change everything. "Open all communication channels. Let's try to talk to them." The alien response came 30 minutes later. The voice that filled the bridge was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English through some kind of translation device. "Primitive creatures of the third planet, you have entered territory belonging to the Zephyrian hegemony. I am Fleet Commander Vexthai. You will surrender immediately or face destruction." Morrison stepped forward, speaking clearly into the communication system. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Human Space Force. We come in peace. We didn't know this territory belonged to anyone. We're willing to discuss this situation." Laughter filled the bridge, harsh, mocking laughter that made Morrison's crew exchange worried glances. "You speak of discussion? You are nothing but insects that have learned to fly between rocks. The Zephyrian hegemony has ruled this galaxy for 500 years. We have conquered 47 species. You will be the 48th. Blake moved closer to Morrison, speaking quietly. "Captain, their ships are powering up weapon systems. Whatever they plan to do, they're preparing for it." Morrison tried again. "Commander Vexthai, we don't want to fight. Surely we can find a peaceful solution." "Your weakness disgusts me," Vexthai replied. "Watch as we demonstrate Zephyrian power." On the main screen, Morrison and his crew watched in horror as one of the alien ships fired a bright beam of energy. The beam struck Research Station Alpha, a small human outpost on New Virginia's moon. The station, home to 847 scientists and workers, disappeared in a flash of white light. No debris remained. Nothing at all. The bridge fell silent. Morrison felt rage building inside him, hot and dangerous. These aliens had just murdered nearly 1,000 innocent people without any warning or reason except to show their power. "This is what happens to species that resist the hegemony," Vexthai's voice continued. "You have 1 day to surrender completely. Your ships, your weapons, your people, everything belongs to us now. If you refuse, your entire colony will share the fate of your small station." The communication ended, leaving Morrison's bridge in shocked silence. Grant was the first to speak, her voice shaking with anger. "They killed them all, 847 people just to make a point. Blake studied his tactical displays, his face grim. Captain, their ships are spreading out around the planet. They're taking positions to attack the colony from all sides. Morrison thought about the families living on New Virginia's surface. Children played in the colony's parks while their parents worked to build a new home among the stars. These aliens wanted to make them all slaves. Or worse. Admiral Sullivan's image appeared on the screen again. She had been monitoring the communication, and Morrison could see the same rage in her eyes that he felt in his heart. Jake, Earth has received word of what happened. The President has authorized you to use any means necessary to protect our people. Morrison understood what she meant. The Thunder Soul carried humanity's most advanced weapon, something so powerful that even Dr. Grant wasn't completely sure what would happen when they fired it. They had built it hoping they would never need to use it. Admiral, are you ordering me to engage 200 enemy ships with our 12 vessels? Sullivan's expression was hard as steel. I'm ordering you to show these aliens what happens when they threaten Earth's children. Humanity didn't cross the stars to bow down to bullies. Morrison looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were scared. He could see it in their eyes. But they were also angry, and they trusted him to make the right choice. These people had left everything behind to explore the galaxy and build something new. They deserved better than slavery or death. Dr. Grant, how long do you need to prepare the quantum disruptor array? Grant's fingers flew over her controls. Give me 4 hours to run full diagnostics. Captain, you should know. We've never fired this weapon at full power. The computer simulations suggest it will work, but we're entering unknown territory. Morrison nodded. Blake, signal the fleet. All ships are to take defensive positions around New Virginia. We're going to make our stand here. As his crew prepared for battle, Morrison stared out at the alien ships surrounding their new home. The Zephyrians had ruled the galaxy for 5 centuries, conquering dozens of species. They thought humans would be easy prey. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Commander Alex Turner had spent the last 6 hours listening to alien communications, trying to understand what humanity was facing. As the Thunder Soul's intelligence officer, he specialized in breaking enemy codes and intercepting messages. What he discovered made his blood run cold. Captain Morrison, you need to hear this, Turner said, calling Morrison to the intelligence station. The bridge was busy with preparations as the crew readied for battle. Outside the ship's windows, the Zephyrian fleet moved into attack positions around New Virginia. Morrison studied the translated messages on Turner's screen. The aliens were discussing humans like they were animals in a zoo. Weak species, primitive, technology, and easy conquest appeared over and over in their communications. They've done this before, Turner explained, pulling up more data. 47 times according to their records. They find a new species, demand surrender, and if they refuse, they destroy their home world as an example to others. Dr. Grant joined them, wiping sweat from her forehead. She had been working nonstop to prepare the quantum disruptor array. Alex, what else do you know about their technology? Turner brought up tactical displays showing the Zephyrian ships. Their weapons are powerful but old-fashioned. Energy beams, plasma cannons, fusion missiles. Nothing we haven't seen before. The problem is they have so many ships. Lieutenant Maria Santos, the Thunder Soul's weapons officer, looked up from her station. Captain, I've been studying their fleet movements. They're overconfident. They're not even bothering to keep proper defensive formations. Morrison could see what she meant. The alien ships were spread out carelessly as if they expected no real resistance. Fleet Commander Vex Thai clearly believed his forces were so superior that tactics didn't matter. Turner, what else do those intercepted messages tell us? Morrison asked. Turner, quota's expression grew darker. Sir, they're not planning to just conquer us. The Zephyrians have a slave system. They take the strongest members of each species and force them to work in mines and factories. The rest, he paused, struggling with what he had learned. The rest are eliminated to save resources. Grant's hands clenched into fists. They're planning genocide, not just conquest, complete extermination of our people. Blake approached the group carrying a datapad with fleet status reports. Captain, Admiral Sullivan has sent new intelligence from Earth. Our scientists have been studying Zephyrian technology from their public broadcasts. Their weapons haven't changed much in 200 years. Morrison found this information interesting. What do you mean? Think about it, sir, Blake continued. They've been the dominant power for 5 centuries. When you always win easily, you stop trying to improve. Their technology has become stagnant. Santos nodded in agreement. Our weapons development has been rapid because we've always faced challenges. We went from gunpowder to nuclear weapons in just a few centuries. These aliens have had no real competition for generations. Dr. Grant pulled up technical specifications for the Thunder Soul's quantum disruptor array. Captain, I need to explain exactly what this weapon does. Most energy weapons heat matter until it breaks apart. Our disruptor works differently. It breaks the bonds that hold atoms together at the quantum level. Morrison studied the complex diagrams on Grant's screen. In simple terms, Doctor, when we fire this weapon at something, it doesn't just destroy the target. It makes the target cease to exist. Every atom separates and scatters into space. There's no explosion, no debris, nothing left behind. The bridge fell quiet as everyone absorbed this information. Turner was the first to speak. Doctor, is this weapon theoretical or have you tested it? Grant hesitated before answering. We've tested it on asteroids and derelict ships. It works exactly as designed, but we've never fired it at full power and never in actual combat conditions. Chief Engineer Pete Collins joined the conversation from his station in the engine room, speaking through the communication system. Captain, the quantum disruptor draws massive amounts of power. We can fire it once at full strength, but then we'll need 30 minutes to recharge the ship's energy systems. Morrison considered this limitation. One shot against 200 enemy ships. It would have to count. Another message came through from Fleet Commander Vexathai. This time, his voice carried amusement rather than anger. Pathetic humans, our sensors detect you preparing weapons. Your energy readings are laughable compared to Zephyrian power. You have 18 hours remaining to surrender. Communications Officer Amy Chen looked up from her station. Captain, he's broadcasting on an open frequency. Other alien civilizations are listening to this conversation. Morrison realized what this meant. The Zephyrians weren't just threatening humanity. They were making an example of them for the entire galaxy to see. This conquest was meant to be a demonstration of Zephyrian power, broadcast to every species in known space. Turner, are you picking up communications from other alien species? Turner adjusted his equipment and nodded. Yes, sir. At least a dozen different civilizations are monitoring this situation. Some of them sound worried. Morrison wondered how many other species had faced this same choice, surrender or extinction. How many had chosen slavery to save some of their people? How many had fought and died? Captain, Santos called out, the Zephyrian flagship is moving closer to New Virginia. It's a massive ship, over 5 kilometers long and armed with enough weapons to glass the entire planet. Blake studied tactical displays, calculating distances and firing angles. Sir, if we're going to make our stand, we need to choose our target carefully. That flagship would be the logical choice. It's where Vexthai is commanding from. Grant checked her readings one more time. The quantum disruptor is ready, Captain. All systems are showing green across the board. Morrison walked to the center of the bridge, looking out at the alien fleet that surrounded their new home. Somewhere down on New Virginia's surface, families were hiding in shelters, children asking their parents when the bad aliens would go away. Earth was too far away to send help, and even if they could, it would take months to arrive. Open a channel to the entire human fleet, Morrison ordered. Chen. Quota's fingers worked across her controls. Channel open, sir. All ships are receiving. Morrison spoke clearly, knowing his words would be recorded for history. This is Captain Jake Morrison to all human vessels. In a few hours, we're going to show these aliens something they've never seen before. We're going to show them what happens when someone threatens Earth's children. He paused, thinking about the 847 people who had died at Research Station Alpha. The Zephyrians have conquered 47 species over 5 centuries. They think we'll be number 48. They're wrong. Turner intercepted another alien message and signaled to Morrison. Captain, Vexthai is receiving reports from his ship commanders. They're asking permission to begin the final assault on New Virginia. Morrison nodded to Chen. Open a channel to the Zephyrian flagship. When the connection was established, Morrison spoke directly to Fleet Commander Vexthai. This is Captain Morrison. You made a mistake when you destroyed our research station. You made an even bigger mistake when you threatened our colony. Vexthai's laughter echoed through the bridge. Your threats amuse me, insect. What can one primitive ship do against the might of the Zephyrian hegemony? Morrison's voice was calm and steady when he replied, You're about to find out. The Thundersoul's bridge was completely silent as Captain Morrison prepared to give the order that would change galactic history. Dr. Grant stood at her station, her hands steady on the quantum disruptor controls despite the magnitude of what they were about to do. Chief Engineer Pete Collins had confirmed all systems were ready from the engine room. Captain, Communications Officer Amy Chen said quietly, I'm receiving a transmission from Earth. President Anderson wants to speak with you. Morrison shook his head. Tell the President I'll report to her after this is over. Right now we have work to do. Outside the Thundersoul's windows, the Zephyrian fleet moved in perfect formation. Their ships were works of art, elegant and deadly, representing 5 centuries of technological development. The flagship that carried Fleet Commander Vexthai was particularly impressive. A massive vessel that dwarfed even the Thunder-Soul. Lieutenant Maria Santos watched her tactical displays as the enemy ships moved closer to New Virginia. Captain, the Zephyrians are beginning their final approach. All enemy vessels are powering weapon systems. Commander Blake studied the enemy formation carefully. Sir, they're still not taking any defensive precautions. Vexthai must be completely confident in his victory. Morrison understood the alien commander's thinking. For 500 years, the Zephyrian hegemony had never faced serious resistance. Every species they encountered either surrendered immediately or was quickly crushed. They had no reason to expect anything different from humanity. Commander Turner intercepted more alien communications. Captain, Vexthai just gave orders to begin bombarding New Virginia in 15 minutes. He wants to destroy the colony slowly, making it last several hours as an example to other species. Morrison felt cold rage building inside him. These aliens weren't just planning to kill everyone on New Virginia. They wanted to make it a slow, painful demonstration of their power. Every alien civilization in the galaxy would watch and remember what happened to species that defied the hegemony. Dr. Grant, final status report on the quantum disruptor array. Grant checked her instruments one last time. All systems operational, Captain. The weapon is charged and ready to fire. Target acquisition is locked onto the Zephyrian flagship. Morrison walked to the center of the bridge, looking at each member of his crew. These people had volunteered to explore the galaxy, to push the boundaries of human knowledge and achievement. They deserved better than to be enslaved or exterminated by alien bullies. Chen, open a channel to all human ships and broadcast on all galactic frequencies. I want every alien civilization to hear this. Chen's fingers danced across her controls. Channel open, sir. Broadcasting on all frequencies across the galaxy. Morrison spoke slowly and clearly, knowing his words would be heard by billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Human Space Force, speaking to all civilizations monitoring this encounter. Today, you will witness something new in galactic history. He paused, watching the Zephyrian flagship grow larger on the main screen. For 5 centuries, the Zephyrian hegemony has terrorized peaceful species, demanding surrender or destruction. 47 civilizations have been conquered or eliminated. They believe humanity will be their 48th victim. Turner signaled that alien communications were going wild across all frequencies. Species that had hidden from the Zephyrians for generations were suddenly paying attention to this small human fleet. The Zephyrians made one critical mistake, Morrison continued. They threatened Earth's children. They murdered 847 innocent people to demonstrate their power. They believe their 500 years of conquest makes them invincible. Morrison nodded to Grant. who began the final activation sequence for the quantum disruptor array. Energy readings throughout the ship climbed to levels never before achieved. Collins' quote voice came through the communication system from engineering. "Captain, we're drawing maximum power from all fusion reactors. The quantum disruptor is ready to fire on your command." Morrison took one last look at the Zephyrian flagship. Fleet Commander Vexthai was probably standing on his own bridge right now, confident in his superiority, completely unaware that human science had developed something beyond his understanding. To Fleet Commander Vexthai and the Zephyrian hegemony, Morrison said into the open communication channel, "You asked what one primitive ship could do against your mighty fleet. Allow me to demonstrate." Morrison turned to Grant. "Doctor, fire the quantum disruptor array." Grant pressed the firing control, and the Thunder Soul unleashed humanity's most devastating weapon for the first time in actual combat. The quantum disruptor beam was invisible to the naked eye, but its effects were immediately obvious on every sensor screen throughout the human fleet. The beam traveled at near light speed, crossing the space between the Thunder Soul and the Zephyrian flagship in less than 2 seconds. When it struck the massive alien vessel, something unprecedented in galactic history occurred. The 5-kilometer-long Zephyrian flagship simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris field, no dramatic flash of light. One moment the massive warship was there, and the next moment there was nothing but empty space. Every atom that had made up the ship and its crew of 10,000 beings had been scattered across the void. The effect on the remaining Zephyrian fleet was immediate and dramatic. Every alien ship stopped moving, their weapons powering down as though their commanders tried to understand what had just happened. Santos stared at her tactical displays in amazement. "Captain, I'm reading no debris, no energy signatures, nothing at all where their flagship used to be. It's like it never existed." Blake was studying communications from the other Zephyrian ships. "Sir, their fleet is in complete chaos. Ship commanders are requesting orders, but there's no one left to give them." Turner was monitoring galactic communications, and his face showed amazement at what he was hearing. "Captain, alien civilizations across the galaxy are going silent. Some are cutting their communication channels entirely. Others are sending messages asking if what they just witnessed was real." Chen looked up from her station. "Sir, I'm receiving a priority transmission from one of the Zephyrian ships. It's Sub-Commander Kelrith, apparently the second in command of their fleet." Morrison nodded. "Put him through." The voice that came through the speakers was very different from Vexthai's arrogant tone. Kelrith sounded shaken and uncertain. "Human vessel, this is Sub-Commander Kelrith of the Zephyrian hegemony. We request immediate ceasefire talks." Morrison allowed himself a small smile. "Sub-Commander, 30 minutes ago your commander told me we were insects. What changed your mind?" There was a long pause before Kelrith replied. "Captain Morrison, in 500 years of Zephyrian expansion, no enemy has ever destroyed one of our flagships. Your weapon, we have never seen anything like it." Grant checked her readings and confirmed what Morrison already knew. "Captain, the quantum disruptor array needs 30 minutes to recharge, but I don't think we'll need it again." Morrison was right. Throughout the Zephyrian fleet, ship commanders were receiving the same message from their surviving officers: retreat immediately or face the same fate as their flagship. Turner intercepted a priority message from the Zephyrian home world. "Captain, their high command is ordering the entire fleet to withdraw from human space immediately. They're also sending diplomatic envoys to begin peace negotiations." Morrison looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They had done something no other species in galactic history had accomplished. They had made the Zephyrian hegemony back down through superior firepower. "Chen, open a channel to Admiral Sullivan on Earth." When the connection was established, Admiral Sullivan's face appeared on the main screen. Her expression showed pride and amazement. "Jake, did we just watch you destroy a 5-kilometer warship with a single shot?" Morrison nodded. "Yes, ma'am. The quantum disruptor array performed exactly as Dr. Grant designed it. The Zephyrian flagship, and its crew of 10,000 are gone. Sullivan was quiet for a moment, understanding the magnitude of what had just occurred. Captain, you've just announced humanity's arrival as a major galactic power. Every alien civilization in the galaxy now knows that Earth cannot be conquered easily. Morrison looked out at the retreating Zephyrian fleet and thought about the families on New Virginia, who were finally safe. Admiral, I think they're beginning to understand that humanity is not another weak species to be conquered. We're something entirely different. News of the Thundersoul's devastating attack spread across the galaxy faster than anyone could have imagined. Within 3 hours of the Zephyrian flagship's destruction, 23 different alien civilizations had attempted to contact Earth simultaneously. Admiral Kate Sullivan found herself dealing with a diplomatic crisis unlike anything in human history. Captain Morrison remained in orbit around New Virginia, watching as the Zephyrian fleet retreated to the edge of the star system. Sub-Commander Kelrith had requested permission to collect escape pods from damaged ships, and Morrison had agreed. Even in war, humanity would show mercy, something that apparently surprised the aliens. Commander Turner was monitoring communications across the galaxy, and what he discovered amazed him. Captain, you need to hear this. Alien civilizations that have been hiding from the Zephyrians for centuries are suddenly coming out of hiding. Some are asking if Earth needs allies. Dr. Grant was running diagnostics on the quantum disruptor array, making sure the weapon would be ready if needed again. Captain, I'm still having trouble believing it worked so perfectly. The computer model suggested it would be effective, but seeing a 5-kilometer ship simply ceased to exist. Morrison understood her amazement. Humanity had built a weapon that violated everything the galaxy thought they knew about physics and warfare. Doctor, how long before other civilizations develop similar technology? Grant considered the question carefully. Sir, our quantum disruptor is based on theoretical physics that most alien civilizations haven't even discovered yet. It could take them decades or centuries to understand how it works, much less build their own version. Lieutenant Santos was tracking the movements of alien fleets throughout the galaxy. Captain, this is interesting. Several alien civilizations are repositioning their military forces. It looks like some old territorial disputes are being reconsidered. Commander Blake studied the tactical implications. Sir, by destroying the Zephyrian flagship, we've changed the balance of power across the entire galaxy. Species that were afraid to challenge the hegemony are suddenly feeling more confident. Morrison received a priority transmission from Earth. Ambassador Tony Mitchell appeared on the main screen, looking overwhelmed by the diplomatic situation. Mitchell had been Earth's ambassador to the United Nations, but now he was humanity's first representative to an entire galaxy of alien civilizations. Captain Morrison, President Anderson has asked me to coordinate all diplomatic contact with alien species. In the last 4 hours, we've received formal communications from 47 different civilizations. Some want to establish trade agreements, others are requesting military alliances, and a few are asking for protection from the Zephyrians. Morrison was amazed by how quickly everything was changing. Ambassador, what's the President's position on all these requests? Mitchell looked tired but determined. She wants to proceed carefully. Humanity has just become a major galactic power overnight, and we don't want to make enemies unnecessarily, but we also won't be bullied or threatened by anyone. Sub-Commander, Kelrith requested another communication with the Thundersoul. When Morrison agreed to speak with him, the Zephyrian officer appeared on screen looking very different from his arrogant commander. Kelrith seemed thoughtful and concerned rather than threatening. Captain Morrison, I have received new orders from the Zephyrian High Command. They are offering a formal ceasefire and reparations for the destruction of your research station. Morrison was surprised by this development. What kind of reparations? Kelrith hesitated before answering. The High Command is prepared to pay compensation for the 847 lives lost, provide technology transfers, and establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. They also want to discuss a non-aggression treaty. Blake leaned closer to Morrison, speaking quietly. Captain, this is unprecedented. The Zephyrians have never offered reparations to anyone, They've certainly never suggested diplomatic relations with the species they tried to conquer. Morrison realized that humanity's single shot had accomplished something no other species had managed in 5 centuries. They had forced the Zephyrian hegemony to treat them as equals, rather than victims. Turner intercepted another important communication. Captain, I'm receiving a priority message from something called the Galactic Council. They're requesting immediate contact with Earth's leadership. Morrison had never heard of a Galactic Council. Turner, what do you know about this organization? Turner pulled up what information he could find. Sir, from what I can gather, the Galactic Council is composed of the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. They've been around for thousands of years, but they usually stay hidden and don't interfere in galactic politics. The Council's message was formal and respectful, very different from the Zephyrian demands or the desperate requests from other species. Counselor Nexuma, speaking for the ancient organization, requested permission to send a diplomatic mission to Earth. Ambassador Mitchell, are you receiving the Council's transmission? Morrison asked. Mitchell nodded, studying the message carefully. Yes, Captain. This is significant. According to our preliminary research, the Galactic Council only contacts species they consider to be potential equals. Most civilizations never hear from them at all. Dr. Grant made an interesting discovery while analyzing galactic communications. Captain, I've been studying the reactions of different alien species to our weapon demonstration. Several advanced civilizations seem genuinely shocked by our technology. Morrison found this puzzling. Shocked how? Grant pulled up scientific data from alien broadcasts. Sir, apparently our quantum disruptor violates several fundamental laws of physics as understood by galactic science. Some alien scientists are calling it impossible, even though they witnessed it happening. This information made Morrison think about humanity's rapid technological development. In just 4 centuries, humans had gone from sailing ships to faster-than-light travel. Most alien civilizations had taken thousands of years to achieve the same progress. Santos received an update from the human fleet. Captain, Admiral Sullivan is ordering additional ships to New Virginia. 5 more vessels are en route from Earth, including 2 more Thunder-class battleships under construction. Morrison was pleased to hear about reinforcements, but he wondered if they would be needed. The demonstration of human power seemed to have convinced most potential enemies to reconsider their aggressive plans. Kell quote, Reth transmitted another message, this time with news that surprised everyone on the Thunder Souls Bridge. Captain Morrison, the Zephyrian High Command has made an unprecedented decision. They are withdrawing all military forces from 17 star systems and offering them to Earth as a gesture of respect. Blake was amazed. Captain, they're giving us 17 star systems? That's more territory than some major civilizations control. Morrison realized that the Zephyrians were not just offering peace. They were trying to make sure humanity remained friendly rather than hostile. The aliens had conquered 47 species over 5 centuries, but they had never faced an enemy that could simply erase their ships from existence. Turner monitored more galactic communications and discovered something interesting. Captain, 3 other major alien powers are repositioning their fleets away from Earth-controlled space. It looks like everyone wants to avoid any possibility of conflict with us. Morrison thought about the rapid changes occurring across the galaxy. Just days ago, humanity had been unknown to galactic civilization. Now, major powers were changing their military strategies to avoid conflict with Earth. Dr. Grant completed her analysis of the quantum disruptor's performance. Captain, the weapon performed flawlessly. More importantly, I've been studying alien technology databases, and I don't think any current galactic civilization could defend against our quantum disruptors. Morrison realized what this meant for humanity's future among the stars. They had not just survived first contact with a hostile alien empire. They had established themselves as a force that demanded respect throughout the galaxy. Turner, what's the overall mood among alien civilizations right now? Turner listened to communications for several minutes before answering. Sir, I'd say most species are relieved that someone finally stood up to the Zephyrians, but they're also nervous about what humanity might do next. Everyone wants to be our friend, but they're also afraid of making us angry. Morrison smiled at this assessment. Humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had earned respect through strength while maintaining their moral principles. They had shown mercy to defeated enemies and offered friendship to peaceful species. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the Thunder Soul's devastating demonstration, President Carol Anderson stood before the Galactic Council on the ancient space station called Harmony Point. The massive structure had been built thousands of years ago by civilizations, whose names were forgotten, serving as neutral ground for the galaxy's most important diplomatic meetings. Captain Morrison, now promoted to admiral, commanded a growing fleet of human vessels that patrolled 17 star systems gifted by the grateful Zephyrian hegemony. 5 new Thunder-class battleships had joined the original vessel, each equipped with the quantum disruptor arrays that had changed galactic politics forever. Counselor Nexuma, an ancient being whose species had achieved interstellar travel when Earth was still covered in ice, addressed the assembled representatives. Over 200 alien civilizations had sent delegates to witness humanity's formal recognition as a major galactic power. President Anderson, Counselor Nexuma said, her voice carrying the wisdom of millennia, "The Galactic Council has monitored your species' development with great interest. Your rapid advancement from primitive technology to faster than light travel represents the fastest progression in recorded galactic history." President Anderson stood confidently before the assembled aliens, knowing that her words would be broadcast to billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. Counselor Nexuma, humanity is honored to address the Galactic Council. We come seeking friendship and cooperation among all peaceful species. Subcommander Kelreth, now representing the Zephyrian hegemony's new diplomatic approach, stepped forward to speak. The proud alien empire had been forced to reconsider 5 centuries of aggressive expansion after witnessing their flagship's complete destruction. The Zephyrian hegemony formally apologizes for our hostile approach to humanity, Kelreth announced. We have paid reparations for the research station attack and offer the Terra Accords as a foundation for peaceful relations between our civilizations. Admiral Morrison watched the proceedings from his flagship, the Thunder Soul, which orbited Harmony Point alongside vessels from dozens of alien civilizations. Dr. Grant had been promoted to Chief Science Advisor for humanity's growing space fleet, and she continued developing new technologies that amazed galactic scientists. Commander Turner, now Director of Galactic Intelligence, monitored communications throughout the galaxy and reported remarkable changes. 7 alien civilizations had requested formal military alliances with Earth. 12 others had established trade agreements. Most significantly, 3 species that had hidden from galactic civilization for centuries had emerged specifically to contact humanity. Admiral, Turner reported, the Kethmaran Republic has just announced they're willing to share their advanced medical technology with Earth. Apparently, they've been hiding from the Zephyrians for 200 years, but they feel safe enough now to resume galactic contact. Morrison was amazed by how humanity's single act of defiance had encouraged other species to stand up for themselves. The galaxy was becoming a more diverse and open place as civilizations emerged from hiding or reconsidered old territorial arrangements. Ambassador Mitchell, now Earth's official representative to the Galactic Council, had negotiated trade agreements that would benefit humanity for generations. Alien technologies in medicine, energy production, and space travel were being shared with Earth in exchange for human innovations in quantum physics and military technology. President Anderson continued, addressing the Council, outlining humanity's vision for galactic cooperation. Earth seeks a galaxy where all species can develop according to their own values, free from conquest or domination. We will defend peaceful civilizations against aggressive expansion by any power. This statement caused excited discussions among the alien delegates. For 5 centuries, smaller civilizations had lived in fear of the Zephyrian hegemony and other aggressive empires. Now humanity was offering protection to species that had never been able to defend themselves. Counselor Nexuma asked a question that many aliens had wondered about. President Anderson, your quantum disruptor technology appears to violate several established laws of physics. Are you willing to share this knowledge with other civilizations? President Anderson's answer had been carefully considered by Earth's leadership. Counselor, humanity will share defensive technologies with peaceful civilizations that demonstrate a commitment to galactic stability. However, weapons of mass destruction will only be provided to species that sign formal non-aggression treaties with Earth and our allies. Dr. Grant had recommended this approach after studying galactic history. Many alien wars had been fought with primitive weapons that caused terrible destruction, but left planets habitable. The quantum disruptor was so powerful that it could easily destabilize the entire galaxy if every civilization possessed it. Admiral Morrison received a priority communication from the Outer System Patrol. Commander Blake, now captain of his own Thunder-class battleship, reported contact with an unknown alien fleet approaching human space. Admiral, we've detected 15 ships of unknown design approaching the New Virginia system. They're broadcasting a message claiming to represent the Vortakan Empire. Morrison had never heard of the Vortakan Empire, but Turner quickly provided intelligence data. Sir, the Vortakans are a militant species from the far edge of the galaxy. They've been expanding aggressively for the past 50 years, conquering smaller civilizations. Morrison realized this could be humanity's first real test since the Zephyrian encounter. Blake, what's their message? Blake's voice carried concern. Admiral, they're demanding that humanity withdraw from all systems beyond Earth immediately. They claim this entire sector belongs to the Vortakan Empire now. Morrison smiled grimly. Apparently, some alien civilizations still hadn't learned the lesson that the Zephyrians had learned so painfully. Blake, transmit our standard response to aggressive species. The message that Blake sent to the Vortakan fleet was simple and direct. This is the United Human Space Force. You are approaching territory under Earth's protection. We recommend you consult with the Zephyrian hegemony about the consequences of threatening human colonies. Turner monitored the Vortakan response and reported back to Morrison. Admiral, they're claiming they've never heard of humans and don't care about Zephyrian warnings. Their fleet commander is demanding immediate surrender of New Virginia. Morrison had hoped that news of humanity's military capabilities would spread throughout the galaxy, preventing unnecessary conflicts. Apparently, some species needed personal demonstrations before they would believe what they had heard. Turner, broadcast our response on all galactic frequencies. I want every civilization to hear this. When the communication channel was open, Morrison spoke clearly and calmly to the Vortakan fleet. Vortakan Empire, this is Admiral Morrison of the United Human Space Force. You have entered space under Earth's protection and demanded surrender of our colonies. We will give you one opportunity to withdraw peacefully. The Vortakan commander's response was arrogant and dismissive. Primitive humans, the Vortakan Empire has conquered 23 species in 50 years. We have never retreated from any battle. Prepare for destruction. Morrison nodded to his weapons officer. Target their flagship with the quantum disruptor array. The Thunder Soul's devastating weapon fired once more, and the Vortakan flagship simply ceased to exist, just like the Zephyrian vessel before it. The remaining 14 alien ships immediately powered down their weapons and requested permission to retreat. Turner monitored galactic communications as news of the second demonstration spread across the galaxy. Admiral, alien civilizations are calling this the Second Thunder. Several aggressive species are announcing immediate policy changes regarding human space. Morrison realized that humanity's reputation for devastating military power was becoming firmly established throughout the galaxy. This would prevent many future conflicts, as potential enemies would think twice before threatening Earth's interests. President Anderson concluded her address to the Galactic Council with words that would be remembered for generations. Humanity offers friendship to all peaceful species and protection to civilizations that cannot defend themselves. But we also promise swift and decisive action against any force that threatens innocent people. Councilor Nexuma formally announced the Council's decision. The Galactic Council recognizes Earth as a major galactic power and welcomes humanity to full membership. The Terra Accords are hereby ratified as the foundation for peaceful galactic relations. Admiral Morrison looked out from the Thunder Souls bridge at the diverse fleet of alien vessels surrounding Harmony Point. Ships from dozens of civilizations flew in formation with human vessels, representing a new era of cooperation among the stars. Dr. Grant had developed new technologies that would revolutionize galactic medicine, energy production, and space travel. Humanity's rapid scientific advancement continued to amaze alien scientists who had spent centuries developing similar innovations. As Morrison watched, a new ship entered the system, another Thunder-class battleship fresh from Earth's shipyards. Soon, humanity would have a dozen of the powerful vessels patrolling galactic space, ensuring that no aggressive empire could threaten peaceful civilizations.